Welcome back, everybody. I'm Sassy Pants, wife to Matty the rancher, and I'll be your storyteller today. Welcome to Adventures with Sodak Pete. Stories that celebrate the hard work, the big hearts, and the wide open spaces of ranch life. Out here, every day's an adventure, and we hope each and every one of you listening can imagine yourself as little Sodak Pete, learning the ropes, getting your hands a little dirty, and helping out where it counts. So grab your boots and tip your hats, and let's see what today's adventure has in store. Sodak Pete, fall leaves on the ranch. The morning sun peeked over the hills, filling the kitchen with a soft golden glow. Millie stretched by the door and Pete leaned against the window, watching the light touch the barn and the trees. "Those leaves are turning," he said with a grin. Outside, the world shone red, orange, and yellow, a brand new fall day on the ranch. The smell of pancakes filled the kitchen. Matty flipped one real high and I poured warm syrup while Pete told us all about the trees that he had seen out the window. We visited and laughed between bites. Eggs, sausage, pancakes, and plenty of chatter. Matty nodded towards the window. "Hey, looks like a good day for an adventure, Pete," he said. Pete's eyes sparkled and Millie thumped her tail. The day was already off to a fine start. After breakfast, Pete packed a small sack lunch, a sandwich, an apple, and a cookie. I handed him a jug of water and his light flannel jacket. Millie's tail was already wagging. She knew what was coming, an adventure. Pete grinned and tugged on his boots. "Come on, Millie, let's go see some fall color." Millie barked and trotted to the door, ready for the day. Pete and Millie started their fall adventure close to home. Bright leaves swirled around the big oak tree by the porch. Red, gold, and orange, everyone prettier than the last. Millie chased a few that tumbled across the yard. Her tail was wagging fast. Pete laughed, catching one and holding it up into the sunlight. "Looks like the trees are really showing off today," he said. They wandered past the barn and down the line of poplar trees. The wind made them shimmer like golden coins were hanging from every branch. A few leaves drifted down onto old Gray's hood. Millie hopped up on the stuff, sniffing. Pete grinned. "Even the truck's getting dressed up for fall around here," he laughed. The ranch yard felt alive, bright, breezy, and full of color. Pete and Millie headed down the trail toward the coulee. The creek twisted through the tall grass and through the trees. The trees along the bank glowed yellow and orange. Pete tossed a stick into the water and then a leaf. Millie splashed in after it, sending ripples across the shiny creek. The air smelled like leaves, sunshine, and fresh water. Pete and Millie found a cozy spot under a big oak tree where the ground was covered in gold and settled in to have some lunch. Pete opened his sack, peanut butter sandwiches and apple slices, and shared a snack with Millie. A few leaves drifted down as they rested. "It's like the trees are saying, 'Howdy, partner,'" Pete said with a grin. Millie yawned, happy and tired from exploring. After their picnic, Pete and Millie followed the trail back toward the ranch yard. The breeze swirled the leaves around them like a golden parade. Along the driveway stood a few tall ash trees. Their yellow leaves were shining in the afternoon sun. Pete couldn't resist. He climbed up into the lower limbs, laughing as the leaves brushed his hat, swinging and squealing. Millie circled below, wagging her tail and barking him on. "What a day," Pete said, smiling as he dropped back to the ground. As they reached the ranch yard, Pete noticed a thick blanket of leaves under the old oak tree. He smiled. "Millie, I know what we can do next." He ran to the barn and he grabbed the old metal rake hanging by the door. Millie barked. She was in on this plan. Pete dragged the rake back and forth across the yard, pulling the leaves into piles. Scritch, scratch, scritch, scritch, scritch. The sound filled the air as Millie bounded around, chasing each squirrel that flew loose. Before long, there were heaps of crunchy leaves under the trees, perfect for play. Pete wiped his brow. "That ought to do it." With a big run and a laugh, Pete dove right into the biggest pile. Leaves flew everywhere, spinning up into the air like a fall storm. Millie leaped in right after him, her nose buried and her tail wagging. Pete popped up, grinning ear to ear. "Best pile ever!" Pete crouched low and hid beneath a pile, while Millie sniffed the ground, pretending not to see him. Her nose twitched, her tail wagged, she waited, then she pounced. Leaves scattered as Pete laughed and rolled away. "Found me again," he said, brushing leaves from his shirt and his hat. Pete grabbed handfuls of leaves and tossed them high into the air. They rained down around him and Millie in a shower of color. The two of them spun and laughed until the piles were nothing but scattered bits all across the grass. The yard was a mess, but a happy kind of mess. Matty walked out from the barn, smiling at the sight. "You two look like a whirlwind blew through," he said with a chuckle. Pete grinned and tossed a few leaves his way. "Come on, Matty, join us." Soon all three were laughing and tossing leaves. As the day wound down, Matty built a small campfire in the backyard. The soft crackle and the smell of wood smoke filled the cool evening air. Pete roasted a few marshmallows until they were golden, then squished them between graham crackers and chocolate, sharing them with all of us. We sat together by the fire, sipping warm cocoa and sharing s'mores while Millie snoozed close by. It was quiet, cozy, and just right. When the stars began to twinkle above the dark pasture, the ranch felt peaceful and still. I smiled and said, "Fall sure knows how to show off, doesn't it?" Matty nodded, and Pete gazed into the firelight, his face soft and happy. Sometimes the best days are made from simple things: sunshine, good company, and a pile of leaves. All gifts from the good Lord above. Thanks for riding along with us today. Pete and I hope you'll join us on our next adventure.